Gale Force secures their first win in this series over No Tomorrow with a double support strategy changed up for Tomb of the Spider Queen. Now knowing No Tomorrow, they should be picking first pick. Any thoughts on what battleground Gale Force might choose, especially with Braxis banned out?
With Braxis banned out, Tomb already gone, Dragonshower has been removed. That's a Sky Temple? That's off the top of my head. That would be where I would expect them to kind of go. It complements their playstyle. It's a little bit of global, a little bit of double support available. But I mean, it's not maybe one of their standard maps by any means.
It's hard to figure out where they would go. It is not going to be Sky Temple. And I'll show you where we're heading as we check out the battleground pool. Gale Force chose Infernal Shrines, which interestingly, Team 8 chose versus Gale Force, although Gale Force did beat them there. And it was another place for a double support, double warrior showdown.
Yeah, that's what it feels like so far. Gale Force on any and every map that they can, or it's viable, that's the direction they move into the draft. So now, does No Tomorrow instantly just look to try and ban that out? Do they look for other options? This map is big enough to where you could say, well, you can focus more on macro play, just global it out, get split pressure, and not fight into them all day on the shrines?
Gale Force did not take Gul'dan until after the second rounds of bans. So maybe the adjustment is to take Gul'dan. I believe in the Gul'dan. I think that's what maybe could help No Tomorrow.
I mean, they made easy work of the double support when we saw it with the Gul'dan. It did look good into it. I just don't know if it's enough to be the answer. I think it's more of like a, you know, you picked a Brightwing into a Zeratul comp. It's like, it helps, you know, it works out, but I don't know if it means it's going to be a free win. I'm not as convinced.
If they do the same thing, they ban Lucio, and then instead of picking Vala, pick up like Malfurion in that instance, but then it leaves Vala Zarya available. So
which nobody wants anything to do with that.
I mean, No Tomorrow wants something to do with it, but on their side.
Yeah. I don't know. We've got ourselves a drafting conundrum.
A doozy.
A bit of a doozy. I love this stuff, man. This is where I lose my soul. I'm not kidding. It just.
What phrasing?
You know, I guess when I use. That's not how most people use that phrase at all, huh?
No.
When you lose your soul, it's more of like a bad thing. This is when I volunteer it to the
Nexus gods.
The Nexus
They're
gods.
back again.
And I say, you know, just take me away, man. I'm ready to experience this draft and all the greatness with it.
Drafting puzzles with Dreadnought.
I love them. I think draft is one of the most beautiful things that exists in all of competitive gaming.
I agree.
Especially in Heroes of the Storm. It is 1,000 different variables, and you're just trying to win the game. And that's, you know, you can't put the pieces in the wrong order. You gotta think about everything. And then what if your opponents have a crazy piece that they're, you know, it's just the coolest piece of the puzzle, really. You gotta question that, ban it out, which we already see. Greymaine's out. Tassadar. Is it still the Vala? Is it the Arthas? Is it the Malf? Or Zarya. One of those four. Or Falstad, too. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. I like Falstad. Falstad's the safest bet into double support, double warrior. It is the... It can kill warriors, it can gust when things go bad, and you get the global.
It
is the best.
And it takes it away from Gale Force.
So I want the Falstad.
I stand ready.
Vala stands ready.
It's a sad day.
What did they pick last time on Shrines? They were first pick, so they picked Arthas and then Vala Lucio. Lucio's still up. So is Ariel.
You got Ariel. Ariel's a must because you are afraid of Ariel Zarya Vala. It is a legitimate must, not even considering the map. So you take Ariel. Just do you take the Zarya, or do you take the Malf, or do you take the Lucio? And what's the best out of those? I personally, oh man.
They just beat Vala Zarya.
You give up the Lucio. No, they're going to take it themselves. They're going to go their own direction here with the Zarya Gul'dan. So now that breaks the whole draft.
Yes.
Everything just, all the cool mind games we got to play before, out the window. I thought that would have been a ban and not a pick. So now is No Tomorrow committing to a double support?
Ooh.
My Jimmies are quickly getting rustled. Quickly. Don't do this to me, No Tomorrow.
Your Jimmies
You were the chosen
so
one.
Quickly.
You were the chosen one, No Tomorrow. Stick with us. Don't conform. Don't submit to the double support.
We need this on a stand that just rises out of the desk as the draft goes. Every time you get tilted, it's just like...
Hey, I wasn't tilted. I said my jimmies were rustled.
Is that not the same thing?
You know, I've never totally understood what the word tilted meant, no matter how much people use it. Like, I've
never understood my jimmies are rustled.
You haven't?
No.
All right, well, you take your jimmies, you look at them.
Okay, what is a jimmy?
All right. All right.
Except Rainer.
All right, I'm going to be honest.
This is Jimmy. Are you saying your Rainer is like upset?
There's a certain threshold of just things I can't help you with in life, merely because you have to find it within yourself. And if you cannot identify your jimmies, you done goofed.
That's going to be my quest over the week before HGC.
It's like a spirit animal. That's not
part 2, week 3.
That's not like a one-weekend adventure that you just find within yourself. This takes years to find your Jimmy.
Do you think Lily could help me with this adventure? Find my Jimmies a little faster?
Yeah.
I'm going to give her a call after this.
Yeah, okay. She can help out. She'll only bring you tea and other nice things and walk around all adorable with her little fishing net.
Maybe tea is what you need for a Jimmy's finding adventure.
That could be true. I wonder what...
It wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt.
Tea never hurts.
Tea's pretty solid.
What's happening? We should probably watch the draft for a little while.
So...
Arthas?
We had Arthas and then another band. There were surprisingly little amount of action happening on the screen for that conversation.
It's like we know when to go on tangents.
Okay, so we experienced a Malfurion band choke, which shows they're afraid of double support with Ariel. That means that they really want the Lucio.
And weren't going to take Malf,
They really want the Lucio. Like, no tomorrow, please, please, please ban the Lucio here. Ariel, Zarya is not nearly as good without Malf and Ariel. Not even close. I'm still torn on where these Lucio falls into the Zarya power spike. Like, I'm always on the Lucio hype train, and I can't help but feel like it would be insane, but that is one I haven't seen enough to totally be like, it's a must. But with the ban on the Malf, then you just go, no. Set all your supports that tick down. I mean, to be fair, though, we saw that same kind of circumstances happen to No Tomorrow in the last draft. Tiger JK's performance on Rhaegar was, you know, it left something to be desired. At least the Ancestrals. I don't think I really saw one where I was like, good Ancestral that entire game. Most of them were missed, or he was CC'd during that time. So it could be better for Gale Force, now pushed into Rhaegar Kharazim than we saw it was for No Tomorrow.
I think No Tomorrow still want Muradin. Does Gale Force, especially with Arthas taken, I think they're going to get Muradin here for Equinox.
Sonya is what you really want. Nope. They're pulling away from it, at least not yet here. With the Zarya, I figured that'd be the case.
So Johanna can be added to what Equinox is feeling comfortable playing tank-wise. Because it is always something to keep in mind. He is new to this role, at least fully on this role.
In a weird sense, yeah.
Yes.
He's new, but he's not. He's not like Collusion new or Bud's new to the role. He's not even June new in that sense. Because he's been there on the role, but then for his team, this team that he's been on, he decided to half play it.
Yeah.
And then now he's decided to restore himself back to full warrior.
Fully warrior.
It's like a Zuna new. You know, you've been there, you've done that, and you kind of revisit the role here and there depending on what team you're on.
Okay. It's been a hot minute.
It has been, yeah.
A second support? Does No Tomorrow want it?
I hope not.
I think it's another warrior and then something for trees.
Falstad. No, not
Dahaka?
him. KT I like. Oh, man. But the Dahaka for the global and the double warrior over like the Muradin Falstad.
I don't know if I have ever in my life heard you say the quote, no, not him, after Dahaka is picked.
Yeah. That's a good point. I'm always like, all right, that was a good pick. Yeah.
Why is it Dahaka picked right now? Top of the draft, every draft. Dahaka? Anybody?
No.
I feel like Dahaka's perfect here.
They are. He is.
That's my dread impression. Hello, team Dahaka?
Not nearly as good as mine of you. I'm just saying. You know, we got to experience that yesterday. If you guys didn't see it, I just go in some weird, high-pitched, lame voice. Morales.
Why are you so mean?
You know, I'm just cold-hearted, I guess.
At least my impression of you was nice. Morales.
What? We saw Akaface leaning towards that in week 1.
Yeah.
And it made a bit more sense there. We had Falstad and Zeratul on the same team on Battlefield of Eternity where it was picked. Now it's going to be played on Infernal Shrines where it's in the med department, I feel like, for the most part. Obviously, it's nice to be able to have that with the Gul'dan and the Zarya for the shielding to help it out, but Horrify is the only major anti-momentum counter-initiation tool really on the composition left by Gale Force eSports.
I'm starting to wonder if Gale Force's priority list of supports is like Malf, Lucio, and then Morales next.
I mean, it feels that way. Anytime they can even get close to an argument for it. I don't know if I would say it's that rigid, but it's definitely Morales is significantly higher than every other team in North America.
Yeah.
Like, anytime it's kind of like, well, they committed resources to supports and it looks okay, then it's like, we're going Morales.
They did pick Rhaegar on Dragonshire when Lucio and Malf were out, so I guess it's more dependent. I mean, obviously he gives some wave clear for that battleground in the 1 of 4, but Lieutenant Morales is here, so is Kael'thas, returning once again to the Nexus. Let's see who will get a win in game number 3. We're headed to Infernal Shrines, actually, for game 4. Right? 3? Nope, 3 was right. It's fine. We're all fine here.
Figuring things out one game at a time.
Yep.
Oh, baby. So, what else can we look at at this draft? The KT is going to have a lot of threat. It's going to make any type of poke is always beneficial into a Gul'dan, but can it really make it through the Morales Zarya? Benefits and Tychus applying pressure to that front line. Not as sold on this draft for No Tomorrow as I was on some of their past ones. This one definitely feels a little bit, for me, weighted towards Gale Force eSports, which makes me feel like that means they should more convincingly win than they did in Game 2.
Even though Morales was picked, seems like Akaface still fearing possible Dahaka stalks in or Arthas dives, because he did still pick Trauma Trigger at level 1. Gives him an extra safeguard. He drops below 50% health.
Who's going to win the race? That's the real question. Got my answer. Gale Force was winning. Tychus is dispersed. Dahaka here is still on mid, though.
Johanna went down and soaked, so all of the soak is happening for Gale Force eSports. But Tychus might have been caught with Airho flanking around, so that helps No Tomorrow in this race.
And the fact that Dahaka, all it takes is one mini wave this early on, and it's not worth that kill. So if they lost a mini wave, which it looks like they will on mid, Gale Force eSports says thanks. It's actually a really underestimated. Oh, except for the top wave on top. Nobody went to go get it. Oh, man, this experience dance. Second thing that I, lose my soul to. Experience calculation here. No Tomorrow in a bad spot. Trees with a 2-man gravity lap. Tiger JK with the heals. Jason walking away, but that is 2 members already down.
Good night. That Gul'dan damage. Goodness.
Goodness. Johanna's still soaking the other lanes here, so things fell apart for No Tomorrow. What I was just going to say was purely just talking on a lot of people have misunderstandings of how much kills are worth in Heroes of the Storm, especially early game. And almost always taking a minion wave for free will outweigh the experience here. Up until death timers are really, really long, and there's an awkward middle, like level 7 and 8 where that rule kind of changes. But just as a, in your own games, if you ever have the opportunity to take a free wave versus just getting a pick, always take the wave.
Gale Force eSports is going to take a Punisher in the top lane, where they've already taken down a tower and are working on the next one. Clearing that out so that they could be potentially looking at a fort with the first Punisher, which is not the norm here.
No Tomorrow again showing forfeiting the first objective for something else on the map. That's what we saw for them in that one game they have managed to win here against Gale Force on Towers of Doom. This is going to be a free fort, just ripped through very, very quickly. Gale Force setting their eyes onto the keep. Gonna force the back of members of No Tomorrow.
So No Tomorrow are trying to get all of the front walls down for later punishers, for experience.
It's more of stopping the bleeding and experience, and I think they didn't feel like they had the control on the shrine. I think that's definitely understandable.
It was like a perfect spawn for Gale Force eSports. It spawned up in the top. That's where Gale Force were sieging anyway. This is such an interesting early Infernal Shrines games. Both sides like, you're going to siege here, I will turn and siege here.
Jason really wants this. Without anybody else there, nobody's going to initiate. That's one of the most depressing feelings as a Vala with full hatred stacks. You got your mobility and you're like, guys, we can go, we can fight. And everybody else is like, yeah, but you move faster than the rest of us. And that's the only reason you can even get this fight. So if you could just calm down. Take a mini. Howling Blast hits 2. Just going to be a multi-shot thrown out from Jason. Still a level lead. 7 talent here just now going to be picked up for No Tomorrow. Casanova flanks. The drag's there.
Arrow's going in, but this Gul'dan is just doing monstrous damage. That is Ariel's heal for a little bit until she can get more. Jason falls back though. Not giving any more energy to be able to get those further heals, and Michael Udall once again back in the same spot, just throwing out flames, setting these forts, these keeps on fire.
I mean, it's going to be very easy. Until anybody applies any form of pressure onto Morales, it really, you know, Mike Udall has no fear of his mana and health at that point in time. Just Octoface can keep spamming the heal arenas on him. Zari's got the shields in case things get a little weird. So until No Tomorrow, like an Arthas flank or a KT Gravity Lapse, those are going to be the major ways for them to try and secure anything. Dahaka's Burrow, it's a bit unreliable thanks to the probably most iconic audio cue in the entire game. We're going to have ourselves another shrine.
And unfortunately for No Tomorrow, they can't contest it too much. They can try to get there first, but with being so far down in experience, they can't even hope to try to win a team fight versus Gale Force eSports unless maybe they get the right picks before Gale Force hits those heroic abilities. So they're going to rotate down and around and get a mercenary camp. Once they see the shrine activate for Gale Force, who are waiting until they can get that 10 and get some more pressure on the battleground, maybe No Tomorrow will try to siege back on the bottom lane. But this is a rough start, a rough early to mid game now for No Tomorrow, just simply because of the out rotations that Gale Force eSports have had.
Yeah, they have to commit to this on bottom. Dahaka's ridding the Shaman camp. That makes sense, just purely based on the fact that the Shaman camp will get more done than, you know, the members of No Tomorrow on bottom if left alone. But they have no fight anywhere near that shrine itself, so just side soak on mid, and then as much pressure on bottom as they could have. I mean, the biggest criticism you can give to No Tomorrow at this point is really Arthas should be the one on mid and KT going bottom to get as much damage, wave clear, and siege out as you can. But I mean, that's only going to be a little bit of difference of ticks of experience, very little influence onto the game.
Johanna even stalled No Tomorrow, who was bottom, from being able to put any more fort damage down. But No Tomorrow, at least having Dahaka top this entire time, sitting in the lanes. They almost have heroics, so maybe after they can deal with this Punisher, they can start a fight.
Urho gets it over the wall. Dahaka's still soaking for that 10. It's going to be locked in here. Heroics are very standard for everyone. Urho looks to try and force. There goes the army of the undead. Dead is popped, and instantly a blessed shield. There goes the Aegis. Can he heal up? He can.
He does. Expulsion Zone threw him back. The heal was there in time. Now the chain bombs doing quick work with Gale Force eSports. That's 1 and 2 kills. Jason wants to get a third for Octoface. Can they get Erho in range for a Howling Blast? They're going in. Ult in.
He still gets it. Thought for a moment there he didn't get the auto attack to reset his passive, and it might increase the distance just enough for Octoface to stay alive. But no, Jason there had the vault still. Frost shots. They're going to try and take out this mid fort. Urho taking the damage for now. They aren't even going to get it with the Dahaka's side soak here. Man, that is going to really set them. I mean, I guess it's not that bad for this stage of the game on Infernal Shrines.
Dahaka can get this top one, which it looks like it will go down. Now can he get out? Mike and Equinox are here. He's trying to brush talk out. Nobody pulls him out of it, so he gets away.
would have forced either a Horrify or a Blessed Shield if they were. I'm trying to figure out if, you know, maybe there was a chance where the Blessed Shield argument's worth it, but I can't come up with it. Gale Force here has won a lot of the Punishers, is up when it comes to structures, but near even in the experience game. It just, all that does is really puts them in a position to be able to end the game far more conveniently than No Tomorrow. But all the fights are an option, and the late game kill Thaw spike is going to be real. He's about to hit 13, the first major power spike for KT. They're going to go for the invade. And sadly, just, you know, walk away, realizing they're a bit too late to the party. Daka's going to keep Johanna up in the top lane, though, so at some point, Gale Force is going to have to commit her rotation, which means No Tomorrow with that Shaman Camp pushing for free up on top. It's actually worth more to give up this Punisher. That top Shaman Camp would do so much work.
Dan's about to hit his spike with 5 more stacks needed to finish Pursuit of Flame. 13 here for both teams. 25 to 17. No Tomorrow steps back in onto the point. Casanova is brush tucked in, is looking for a kill. Army of the Dead popped. This is an indication to Gale Force eSports that No Tomorrow are committed and ready for the fight. Equinox in trouble, uses his Iron Skin, but Crowan taking so much damage. Vala's already been taken out, but No Tomorrow still keeps Gale Force off the point.
But they're only 6 skeletal defenders away for GFE. Crowan goes in with the nade. And that is going to be all 40 collected as they have a Punisher moving out. And also with that Shaman Camp, it actually was way lower in HP than I gave it credit for. Instantly got removed. So that was not a threat here. Gale Force, being brighter than myself, had that consideration and does make the proper play, only furthering their lead in this game. Going to get another fort, maybe even a keep front wall. You know, Dahaka's just keeping them in the battle. But at some point, they've got to win a fight. Do you feel like the 16 power spike is enough for No Tomorrow?
Fury of the Sunwell is pretty good versus Morales, if you can try to force her back. So far, the chain bombs have been doing pretty well versus Gale Force, although they seem like they're starting to adapt versus that. But once you get Ruinous Affliction, or the Rampant Hellfire for Gul'dan, Gul'dan's going to spike hard at 16 too, so I don't know. It's a toughie.
It is.
I'm more worried about their momentum, I guess, at this point, if they feel like the momentum's just so far against them in the game. But they haven't lost a keep. They did save the bottom keep. Erho checks in, sees the Gale Force has stolen this camp. I don't know, what do you think?
I don't think so. Not unless they play style different and to where Akaface even has to medevac. That's like the only situation where once I feel like I see that, I can believe more in the KT would be enough pressure, but the fact they haven't even really forced that out of him and they're still losing the fights makes me feel like there is no power spike that's enough for No Tomorrow. And I mean, Dahaka's doing his best to really keep them in this game, and their rotations forfeiting a lot of objectives have done a lot of really good things to be able to make sure that this game isn't over yet. But you always got to ask yourself, when are you actually going to win the fight? This is the great first start. Blessed Shield was forced. All members of Gale Force are there. Fan can Expulsion Zone this if he really wants to. Arrow's going to go right back in with Army of the Dead. Once again, Arrow is separated from the team, but continuing to keep the slows on Fan while Jason tries to jump in. That is Expulsion Zone separating the team. Should be enough to get Fan back. The healing from Lieutenant Morales is far too strong, and Gale Force eSports are starting to get ahead in this fight. Erho's on the retreat. Gravity Laps to buy a bit of room. 16 has been achieved for Gale Force. They now set their focus to the bottom keep that has been so conveniently prepped down to 20 HP. No Tomorrow knows this. 2-man Howling Blast, double Gravity Laps. The Phoenix goes out. Wow, Fan taking a lot of damage there from that 7 talent. But his shield plus Akaface's heals go right back into a full health bar, even with chain bombs. Akaface is still just untouched. Here comes Odin to start the siege to take down the first keep of the game. Equinox in to soak up any damage. Relapse doesn't connect for Equinox. And with a keep win, Gale Force eSports walks away. This is going to be the moment that No Tomorrow has been stalling out for. It's the 16 into 16 on this top shrine with Odin down. there has never been a better spot for No Tomorrow to aggress towards Gale Force eSports, and they look like they agree as they're all going to make the rotations upward. If too much time is taken, though, those catapults on bottom will start to stack up. 13 minutes into the game, those puppies begin to hurt, and they're going for a full flank. Urho, keep in mind, he does have Army of the Undead back up, so he's going to be fine for now.
He's just been taking so much damage at the beginning of these fights every single time, but he turns around and sees an Equinox, who has to use Iron Skin to back out once again. Jason's going for it. He sees Akaface. Expulsion Zone makes the jump in for No Tomorrow take a little bit longer. Horrify throws back Paula. This could be the chance. Cleanse used to keep Equinox in.
And he is going to be fine. Once again, the healing beam of Akaface in the safe positioning allows him to survive and the team to pull ahead once more. 2 heroics are down, 3 on the side of No Tomorrow. Only 1 available for Gale Force eSports. So technically an advantage for No Tomorrow, but I don't feel like Strafe and Aegis are going to be the tools that apply enough pressure to where they would be, you know, comfortable taking a fight.
Yeah, because of how No Tomorrow have been taking every single fight, I don't think they'll ever get into one without Army of the Dead.
I agree with you if they keep it up, but I do feel like part of that last fight, for instance, was on other people other than Urho. I agree with you. Urho has been very split and dying very fast, but at one point they need to realize Urho's their best initiation.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I'm just saying I don't think that they'll be willing to fight without it, but they did get into this one, and it's still a few seconds until he has it.
There goes a drag. Cleanse is going to be used. So that is one initiation tool already down. Army is back. 2 catapults, 3 are going to be stacked here on the bottom half of the map. That's something we'll keep focus on.
Adaptation in a few seconds too.
So let's see if they can force it. This is it, round 2. No Tomorrow, what do you got? Howling Blast, not going to land. Zoned a couple of people, though. Strafe ripping through the HP bars. The drag there, but no, they're going to be fine. Urho splitting onto the backline. That's a big fear, hitting 3. Jason barely kept alive. And now Gale Force eSports find themselves 1 more kill, but they are not done.
No energy, though, and Crowan jumps in, throws the nade from downtown, and gets a 2nd kill on Vala. That is it for No Tomorrow in this fight. They'll have to step back and look to defend the Punisher. They may even lose Arrow. Crowan really wanted to get that kill. It just seems so, they just cannot quite get the kill. Gale Force eSports always kiting back in these fights. They step back, they use Expulsion Zone to split the team apart, they use Horrify to split the team apart, they kill whoever is needed, and Equinox every time stays alive. Is there any other target that's even possible for No Tomorrow to go after?
There is. It's how they approach the fights.
Okay.
That is really putting them in that position. They are approaching from left to right, and you cannot do that into Gale Force's comp. They will always regroup. They'll back out, and you're approaching from the angle you expect. Urho has to essentially kind of bait Dahaka's show, and then everybody go, okay, do we go for the Dahaka or we go for the KT? When that happens, then Arthas suddenly flanks from behind too, and you go, now you have nowhere to run. That is the only way they can really force those fights hard enough, and then the KT has to be in range to be able to follow up, though. That's the biggest tool. That is what they haven't had the last few times, is yes, Urho is doing things, but nobody's there to put any kind of threat onto any backliner. Once again, Urho's up doing things. Is any DPS in range? No.
They were. Now with the Horrify, they're going to throw him back, but they were trying to. Gravity Labs did hit 1. Another problem, too, is a lot of the health bars have been so low for No Tomorrow, and it's been tough to keep the energy there for Tiger JK. This is a start, though. Johanna finally gets taken out. Great Gravity Labs, secures a 2nd kill. Arthas dies, but it's still a 2-for-1.
Casanova just carrying the squad there with that drag, and that is going to be 3 kills here. Now for No Tomorrow, what can they make happen on the map with it? But Casanova, that last drag was merely just one step in the phase of how we won that fight. We were talking about you cannot approach from the same angle. Dahaka has to flank so far back, and the DPS be in range. They didn't even need that there. Honestly, it was still a little bit sloppy, but Urho was just far enough forward with Dahaka putting too much pressure onto Akaface. It was just enough to be able to lock down those kills onto the backline. This is what No Tomorrow needs if they're going to be successful here in this game. And they just don't have the siege.
Because of that, I wonder if that's going to be the adaptation, no pun intended, for Dahaka for 20. I'm wondering instead of Apex Predator if we see something like Hardened Shield or even Essence Claws, so we can have the slows as well as the essence from hitting heroes to be able to keep himself up faster, up higher.
Yeah, that is an interesting concept there. That was way too long for nobody to back on the side of No Tomorrow. They knew those catapults were there, and they knew they were going to take a bit of damage. It was actually worth trying to take the keep and test the waters there. But for hanging out as long as they did, you should not casually take 40% when you have men down on the other side of the battlefield, unless you're going to win the game. But on to your question.
Dahaka 20?
Will we
see
see
it right
it?
now.
I guess we'll find out. I personally think he'll still stick with it, not out of just safety, but because this map actually has enough holes to where the argument of Apex Predator could increase your ability to dive onto a face and get more pressure onto him.
You got change of survival,
Yeah.
so a lot more healing, double, I believe.
It is.
And cooldown reduction for adaptation too.
So once again, Dahaka has to apply insane pressure to the back line. Arthas and KT have to apply enough to the front or hit a huge Howling Blast Gravity Lapse combo. They're down 5 skeletal defenders. The catapults are cleared in bot time long enough for bottom, so this is it. No Tomorrow, you are on a 20 skeletal defender timer. What can they do with it?
Arrow looks to step in. Watch for Casanova to dive into the back line. Not doing it just yet. Arrow taking damage. Gets stunned. Casanova shows up.
It goes in.
Grab.
He got adaptation already, got the grab, forcing the cleanse onto Aka. Urho's taking a lot of damage. That corruption eating every ounce of it. He's going to force the 20 there coming out from Tiger JK.
The expulsion zone was already used too. It was a great zoning, waiting until Airho had been burned down a little bit, but not quite getting the kill. Casanova uses his essence to heal back up.
9 skeletal defenders left. Urho, though, going for the flank. Nobody's there to get the damage output, but desperation strikes. Jason dies on the other side there. No, in fact, Casanova as well. Losing Urho for that desperation dives means no peel.
Difficult spot for No Tomorrow.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
With no keeps that were to direct it in any other way. This is very quickly Gale Force, they know it too. Look at no hesitation
Not
there.
even waiting for the Punisher. Gale Force eSports, 8 kills to 7, but a lot of control in this game.
Winning almost every single map objective. I think every single one.
A lot of the team fights too.
Yeah, No Tomorrow, the entire game was, okay, well, we can side soak, we can side soak. Can we take this fight? No? Okay, keep just side soaking. And the game. Gale Force eSports doing what they do best, winning the video game.
That puts them up 2-1 in this series. No Tomorrow have to make some sort of adjustments now, changes. They chose to have first pick last time. Perhaps is it time to choose a battleground?
Ooh, we're getting so low that unless you have a major favorite map or cheat strategy, that would be the only thought for me to, you know, go in that direction.
It's true, Dragonshire is not even a possibility.
Yeah,
So in this case,
it's just kind of like, well, maybe not. Maybe we just go first pick. You know, there's nothing really standing out to me that would benefit No Tomorrow over Gale Force eSports here. It's just going to try and show up and be the better team.
we had Avala first pick twice now after different bans. I guess it will again come down to what battleground we have, but are there any other battlegrounds that Gale Force eSports can say, okay, we're just going to double support again?
Sky Temple is one of the few. So it's one you can get away with. And so if they go in that map, we might see it.
Well, we'll see very soon. We're taking a break. We'll see you when you come back for game number 4, the real game number 4.